Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today and Tarot. My name is Mel Rose. This is the Tarot portion and the second half of my daily astrology vlog, which you can check out on my other channel, Astrology Today with Mel Rose. Over there, you'll find a description of the day's astrology as I've spelled it out here. Here, I'll discuss the tarot card that sits on the side of the page, and then I'll play another card that, in the context of the day's astrology, may just give us something more to think about. So, let's get into it. The card that currently sits on the side of the page is the Eight of Cups. And the Eight of Cups is there because it corresponds in astrology with the first 10 days or the first decan of the sun's transit here in the land of Pisces. Pisces is a water sign. Cups in Tarot are water element symbolism. Water element symbolism is really very much about how things feel to us. That's emotions, that's relationships, what we love, what our intuition is telling us, and a little bit to do with sort of our habits, like our personal habits, and how our body feels to us as well. So, but we usually just put it in the realm of emotion and intuition. And here we have the Eight of Cups. And we see, that somebody is walking away. We can't see that person's face. They've got a staff in their hand, and they seem to be just beating it on out of here. And you can see the sun and the moon up there. It looks to me like that's like a lunar eclipse. Even sort of the shading of the color of the background there looks a little bit like a lunar eclipse. When it's full sunlight out, but you have that eclipse and the light gets kind of weird and dim. So this tells us, with the moon eclipsing the sun, that, our feelings about what we've been doing, are kind of getting in our way of doing it. And that moon looks a little bit disappointed. This is definitely a card about disappointment. And when we see the cups, we think of emotional investment. So emotional investment here, in this case, we gave of ourselves, our enthusiasm, our love, probably our time and our attention. And we thought that the circumstance or the person, place, or thing that we were investing all of that effort and goodwill in was going to be a satisfying adventure for us. And it turned out just not to be very satisfying. And so we understand that it's a loss. We gave of ourselves in a way that we can't get it back. But at this point, on reflection, we just want to, get on out of here and move on to something that maybe will be a little bit more satisfying. So that's what the Eight of Cups is about. And I'm going to turn this card over. And this is, of course, is my Arthurian Tarot deck. So the cards are a little bit different from a standard Tarot deck. This is Gawain. And Gawain in the Arthurian Tarot deck sort of corresponds to the Strength card in a regular Tarot deck. So I like the symbolism of Gawain. When we talk about strength in the context of the Strength card, we often talk about sort of taming the inner beast. It's about personal strength. It's about having some control over our impulsive tendencies. And with Gawain, we get a little bit of a different story, but it still comes down to, sort of like knowing yourself very well and being able to, sort of gather your strength and use it for good instead of for not good purposes, right? So Gawain in the Arthurian Tarot is like Arthur's #1 best knight. He is the strongest and the bravest and the biggest guy and the best fighter. Well, Lancelot's a little bit better fighter than he is, but Gawain has all of this loyalty to him too. If you look at him, he looks something like a lion, right? Which you would see in a regular Strength card. You would see a lion with usually a lady. So here's Gawain, and he's just very pure of heart, and he's very strong, and he's the bravest, most courageous, and most loyal of Arthur's knights. And there's a myth around him that says, you've got the sun up here, that his strength gathers his strength during the day up until noon. So he's at his strongest at noon when the sun is highest in the sky. And then as the sun goes down, his strength dies off. So he's not strong so much at night as he is during the day. But that's sort of like understanding the cyclical nature of your own strength and weakness, right? And going with it. That's about knowing when to rest and knowing when to stand up and fight. You know, it's about being able to choose your battles, and also, you know, knowing that you're choosing your battles from a place of integrity. So that's Gawain, that's strength. And where do we see this on the page today? Who is our strength? So, you know, I can say that this is a day that's going to require some strength, some personal strength, probably, because Uranus is pretty heavily involved in the aspects that are happening today. The moon is conjunct to Uranus early this morning, and so they're going to be having a powerful effect together. And the moon and Uranus is really, you know, the moon is just about who we are personally. It has to do with your body. It has to do with your emotions and your intuitions, a lot like cups. The moon is a very cups kind of planet. And then Uranus is the outlier that always comes along and asks us to do something differently. You know, like we have a way we like doing things, but Uranus is going to show up and throw a little wrench in the works and ask us to consider something from a different perspective. Update update your apps, you know, update your technology, and get hip to the new slang kids, right? So I guess what I'm saying is that the moon conjunct to Uranus can bring up some surprises in our personal lives today. Impulsive actions can bring about some personal life turmoil. Okay, so when Uranus is involved, you know, in here, like under pressure with our personal lives, you know, asking us to make changes and do things a little bit differently. You know, trust your instincts, okay? Don't second guess yourself. Sometimes Uranus will have you second guessing yourself. And on the other hand, sometimes Uranus will have you seeing a great opportunity. And so if you see a great opportunity, trust yourself and move in that direction, right? But also when Uranus is involved, if you are making changes to your plan, if you have a change of heart, if you have a change of mind, especially when it comes to these moon aspects, tell somebody, okay? Especially if you live with someone, if you have a partner, or if you have children, you have a family that you live with, even if you have a roommate that you live with, if you are having a change of heart or change of mind and it impacts them at all, you need to let them know, okay? And so that's part of that's part of sort of, you know, the inner strength that it takes not to have, you know, to make impulsive choices, but to consult with other people about it, to let them know what you're up to, so that it's not a surprise that, you know, that turns into a problem. And then the moon conjunct Uranus is going to be square to Mercury this afternoon. So again, we have like abrupt changes happening. We have impulsive, we have a capacity to be somewhat compulsive in our actions. But we can, you know, thank goodness for Mercury, we can discuss what it is that's coming up in terms of the changes that we want to make. And by our capacity to have the discussion, you know, just being brave and opening your mouth and opening your heart and saying, this is what's changed for me. You know, you can have a good, you can find a good way to move forward from there. I don't know that any of that is necessarily Gawain, but I will say that yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it right now. I think that's good enough. And then I'm going to put it together here with the Eight of Cups. So again, you know, it takes strength to walk away. It takes strength to practice good timing. One of the things I love about the Gawain example is strength is that practice of timing, of, you know, knowing what battles to choose, knowing when to choose your battles, choosing them from a place of integrity, of deep loyalty, of wanting to follow the rules, wanting to stand up for what is right, right? And, you know, like, here's a person who has obviously been in battles, so they are capable of violence, but that doesn't mean that they would use their violence in a way that lacked integrity. You know, by the way this person lives, it's not lacking integrity to go into battle and fight against your enemy, but it would be lacking integrity to, you know, raise your sword to somebody that you're related to, or you know, somebody that's on your side, on your team, right? So that's a sort of control of impulses and having good timing, and again, you know, coming from a place of integrity just means doing what you know is right. Well, you know, it's not always easy to be that person who, like, has the good timing and knows what is right, and can always act in integrity. You know, part of the reason that's something we discuss a lot is because it's a challenge for everybody. Occasionally we don't act in our best integrity, but it does take strength, and it takes a certain amount of integrity. If you've put a lot of yourself into something, and you're not getting what you need out of it, it takes a certain amount of strength to know this is the time to walk away. All right, this is a sort of know when to hold them, know when to fold them conversation, I think. Definitely, you know, part of being in integrity is being honest with yourself. So, you know, we may think, sometimes we may think that if we give of ourselves to a situation and we're not getting back what we thought we would get back from it, the reciprocity isn't there, the give and take isn't there, the result we were looking for isn't there. Sometimes we think, maybe I just have to give more, right? And having done that a few times in a lifetime, you begin to get a good sense of when that's not actually going to happen. You know, there will be those circumstances where you give a little bit more and you finally get the result you were looking for. And then there will be those circumstances, probably more in the majority, where you didn't get what you were looking for and you gave more and you still didn't get what you were looking for. So then you can look back on that and think, oh my goodness, I wasted my time. But it's not a waste of time. It's always, you know, a lesson learned. Just understand that, you know, if your senses are telling you, if you're being honest with yourself, and if your senses are telling you, look, it's gotten dark, this is not the rosy display of connection and friendship that I thought it would be. The scene here has dimmed for me. You know, use your senses on that, and know when it's time to let go, to walk away, you know, so that you can stay in your integrity. So you're not giving of yourself, you know, in this way where you're going to resent it eventually because you aren't getting anything back from it, right? Right. Okay. I think that's all I have to say about it. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you all so much. My name is Mel Rose, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow for more Astrology Today and Tarot.